Let's all go to the lobby.
Who was that? Was that Rod Stewart? Oh my God, ladies, what a hunk. What a hunkety hunk guy that was. A guy that can pull off a mullet well into his 60s and 70s and 80s. Oh, you gotta love a mullet. Stream cheers to the cast. Okay, let's check this out. Oh, I love that song. I agree, Sharon's here. Great, great song. Let's go. Christy Nome from earlier today.
Rush over the room.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Christy Nome, the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. And today we're here to talk about an operation that's been going on for several months. In fact, after an incident happened here in New York City that brought us to a point where we recognized that we had to work together in order to bring illegal criminal aliens to justice. Nearly 6 months ago, 2 criminal illegal aliens.
Is her voice lining up? 1 second. Let's see here.
We launched until that criminals recognized that we had to. And thank you for being here.
All right, here we go.
I'm Christy Nome, the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. And today we're here to talk about an operation that's been going on for several months. In fact, after an incident happened here in New York City that brought us to a point where we recognized that we had to work together in order to bring illegal criminal aliens to justice. Nearly 6 months ago, 2 criminal illegal aliens attacked an off-duty Customs and Border Protection agent and his friend while they were sitting on a rock in a park after hours enjoying the evening together. These 2 criminals came and attempted to rob them, and it ended up where they bravely fought back. This officer defended himself and his friend, but not before being shot in the face and in the arm by one of these criminals. Immediately after, the men and women of the Homeland Security investigations worked with NYPD, leading to the arrest of that gunman in just 2 hours. Within 28 hours, the second assailant was arrested as well, and those individuals have been brought to justice. But those individuals would have never been in this country if they hadn't been allowed in by the Biden administration when they ignored our federal laws and allowed them to come in illegally. Now, the officer that was injured doesn't seek public attention. He wishes to remain anonymous.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about New York City? Why are we in New York City?
And continues to do so. But his life was forever altered by this heinous crime. His attackers never should have been in this country, and they've been protected and were protected up until that point by sanctuary city policies. In fact, they had long criminal rap sheets and were released by the Biden administration and continued to be released by leaders in this city to perpetuate crimes against the citizens that live here. During our investigation, we learned that these scumbags were affiliated.
New York City is getting violent as fuck, says MB. Well, I mean, I thought that she was going to be talking about the thing from, I'm going to veto this. I'm going to veto this. I thought we were going to be talking about the thing from, today. Here's what I want to do. I definitely want to watch JD Vance from today. So let's get that.
The rest of it, of course, is part of the reason why
we've got like an hour and 10 minutes left in the stream. This press conference is 38 minutes. Let's make sure that we can get this in here today. Crunk the Madman inside the chat. What's up, Crunk? Nice to see you, my friend. Bally ho. I thought Chrissy Nome would be talking about the shooting in Minnesota. I'm not in. I don't care what's going on in New York. Let's go to the White House.
Good afternoon, everybody. Let me be clear. President Trump and his entire administration stand fully behind the heroic men and women of ICE and will always uphold law and order in the United States of America. The deadly incident that took place in Minnesota yesterday occurred as a result of a larger, sinister, left-wing movement that has spread across our country, where our brave men and women of
Ron Cargo says, I'd like to see the Tim Walz presser. Did I really just say that? Jesus, 5-minute timeout. I have that available. I got Tim Walz right here. I can put it to a vote. You guys want to put it to a vote? We only got time for one of these. Let's put it to a vote. One inside the chat for JD Vance, two inside the chat for Tim Walz. One inside the chat for JD Vance, two inside the chat for Tim Walz. UFO Johnny says both. Technically we probably could. Crunk the Madman says, you all take care. I have to oversee the Underdome, says Crunk the Madman. Thank you, Crunk. Wokeopotamus just says no. What does that mean, Woke? God rides a Harley. I vote for a 5-minute timeout. You want a 5-minute timeout? We do give those out. A 5-minute timeout is not a bad thing inside the dome. You either get a 5-minute timeout, which means that we like you, or you get banned forever. Okay. Tim Walz, okay. Well, okay. Let's do both. You talked me into it, Dome. You talked me into it. We can do both. We'll make it work. Let's get out of the White House and go to the theater.
Go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
We'll start with Timmy. And we'll end on JD. You talked me into it, Dome.
Good morning. I'd like to start again this morning extending sympathies to Renee Good's wife and child, to the rest of the family. Deepest sympathies on an unimaginable tragedy.
What's up, John? Welcome in, Valley
the last
Hope.
24 hours. Also, a deep thank you to Minnesotans and those across the country. I understand a fund has been set up to support Renee's 6-year-old child and wife. Other things being done. I would encourage Minnesotans and folks across the country in this moment. You're seeing neighborliness and kindness rise to the occasion. Is go and find out what they're doing there and give some help if you can. I'd also say last night we saw Minnesotans
down in front
meet the moment.
Oh
once
my
again.
God, definitely down in
Thousands
front.
of Minnesotans demonstrated last night peacefully. They shared a message about the reckless ICE mobilization is not keeping us safe and led to the tragedy that the world
I would not be able to give a speech if someone was next to me doing this, by the way.
Witnessed once again. To Minnesota, I say thank you. There's strength in numbers.
She's a lesbian,
there's power
UFO
in peace.
Johnny.
And what we saw was a beautiful vigil
Was a lesbian.
to a life that we're starting to learn more about. And I will let those that want to push out false narratives, to slander or defame Renee Good, Minnesotans will tell her life story. Minnesotans will be there to defend her honor and see this as a human being, not a moment in time. Or
why isn't he wearing a suit? This
the
isn't
callous casualness that I've watched some people on TV gloss over what they saw. We've also spent a lot of time talking last 24 hours about accountability. That means no function.
Here we go. He's going to get into the Somali fraud right here, friends. I'm sure of it.
Government operates with impunity. It means when someone's in a position of authority and they commit any act that impacts our people,
like fraud,
there has to be another place to turn to get justice. Checks and balances. Basic idea, the center of the formation of our country. It's the only measure that protects us from the abuse of government or federal overreach or tyrannical government. Yesterday, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, the BCA, spent the day yesterday attempting to get that accountability. We have learned that the Trump administration has now denied the state that ability to participate in the investigation. And I just want to make this as clear as possible to everyone. Minnesota must be part of this investigation.
We're talking about the fraud,
These
right?
are nonpartisan career professionals that have spent years building the trust of the community. There's a BCA Force Investigations Unit that was created by the legislature, by the people of Minnesota, to provide an independent, consistent
Vermont Gargo
and
says,
trusted
"Go fuck yourself,
mechanism
Walz."
for investigating the use of force incidents involving law enforcement officers.
Great to have you
Minnesota
back,
has
Ron
seen our
Ballyhill,
share
my
of these.
friend.
And what you've seen is, and I have witnessed it during my time, that these professionals have risen to the moment. They are trusted by people. People who are not by inclination trusting of law enforcement or government have come to see the professionals at the BCA as true arbitrators that can get them justice. The unit is the result of years of scrutiny, public engagement, and bipartisan legislative action. Minnesotans have made it clear time and again they expect transparency through this process where a police officer uses deadly force. The BCA, Commissioner, Superintendent Evans, have earned that trust by delivering on that expectation.
He's soaking up the attention. Are you kidding me, God? God rides a Harley. Are you kidding me? He loves the fact that no one's talking about the fraud anymore right now.
I think it's clear to everyone as they saw this that it feels now that Minnesota has been taken out of the investigation. It feels very, very difficult that we will get a fair outcome. And I say that only because people in positions of power have already passed judgment.
Oh my God, this
from
guy's
the president
voice is so horrible.
to the vice
he
president
sounds like such a fucking woman.
to Kristi Noem have stood and told you things that are verifiably false, verifiably inaccurate. They have determined the character of a 37-year-old mom that they didn't even know, don't know. They've determined that
She was impeding the process of removing illegal aliens from the country. She was parking in front of cars. She was trying to stop them arresting people. Like, don't do that, and things like this wouldn't happen.
actions are done.
You can protest,
I don't know.
but you cannot impede
I've not
it.
used inflammatory terms of what happened. I've asked us to find the answers. The only way we find the answers is a thorough investigation by nonpartisan professionals. We've delivered that. We've been able to do it. We've earned the trust. And when I say that, the trust of BCA, and I tell Minnesotans the trust of law enforcement here. Everyone knows, globally, certainly here, that George Floyd, who was murdered a few blocks from this site,
You mean overdosed on fentanyl, right?
tore at the soul of who we were. But we healed. We built back trust. Chief Brian O'Hara came in and took one of the most difficult jobs in America of building back trust in the police force.
By the
in
way, if
Minneapolis
we were going to pardon Derek Chauvin, would it now be the best time to do that?
after Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd. And he's earned that. And he's level. And he's fair. And he's asking for
If
that.
we are going to pardon
And so
Derek,
Minnesotans, I will continue.
if we are going to pardon Derek Chauvin, we should do it now. I mean, we might as well. Welcome in. Thank you so much for hitting that follow button. It didn't come up in my feed for some reason, but thank you for hitting that follow button. I'm not sure just who hit.
You to press that we be part of the investigation, that we do the investigation, so that Minnesotans can trust what the outcome is. I don't have a predetermined notion. Yes, I saw the video. Yes, I saw that. But a thorough investigation will see what happened before that. It will take all factors in, and it will come up with a fair and just conclusion. And we will accept that. Very, very difficult for Minnesotans to think in any way this is going to be fair when Kristi Noem was judge, jury, and basically executioner yesterday.
Bellio,
That's
don't
very,
stop
very
believing.
difficult to think that they were going to be fair.
Dome
With
Stop
that being
Believin'
said-
joining us all the way from India right now. That's so awesome, Dome Stop Believin'. Dome Stop Believin's a professional kite flyer. Yes, she gets paid for that. Do you believe it?
Said Minnesotans, we've risen to the occasion so far, but it's going to get challenging. It's going to be challenging because I feel your anger. The human desire to lash out in this moment is very real. I can tell you that that is the wish of many people, that they fulfill the wish they want to see us turn on one another, turn towards violence rather than peaceful reconciliation, rather than peaceful civil disobedience. And we have to do our best to not play into that. I say this too when I saw yesterday some of the anger, whether it's Minneapolis police, Minnesota State Patrol, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office.
He's inciting the riot.
Minnesota
I agree,
National
UFO Johnny.
Guard. They are there to protect and serve, as it says.
Just wait until he says that we're at war with the federal government.
They are there to protect Minnesotans. Throwing your anger at them only inflames the situation. And I know some of you were up at the Whipple building this morning, and to the press who are here, I saw some of this myself. Thank you. Continue to have access to every single space. Continue to cover this story. Continue to show the world what's out there. I will say it where our president won't. The press are the defenders of our democracy.
Oh, my God. The press are the fucking enemies of the people.
Folks, protect our Minnesotans who are out there and don't turn the anger to them. This is a brazen use of force. They want us to bend the knee. They want us to capitulate. The way we give them what they want is allow them to use this as an excuse to put more troops on the ground. Use them as an excuse to show that these are violent protests. And I also witnessed what I think is going to be a pattern over the next few days and the coming hours, is I saw an individual show up there with the intent to antagonize folks who were peacefully protesting, with a bullhorn to scream at them. And again, the desire to move on that individual.
So that guy doesn't have a First Amendment right, but the morons do?
Is exactly what they want. Because our respect for the First Amendment means we will expect and respect all opinions. If this individual is there expressing support for ICE, that's their constitutional right to do so, and they need to be protected.
There you go.
Don't allow that to be a catalyst to create violence. We believe in states' rights. We believe the federal government needs to stay out of this. We believe that the situation has gotten worse and less safe because of their presence. And I will just say there were 2 incidents yesterday I saw after this that just tore at my soul.
No,
I saw an individual at the scene identify themselves as medical personnel, a physician, and asked to provide aid, and an ICE agent said, "I do not care." That lack of humanity was chilling to me. And after this incident happened, and after the tensions rose, ICE agents entered a Minnesota school, causing disruptions at that school. I can't say this strongly enough as governor, as a parent, as a teacher, to our elected representatives, Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah, come on, get it out.
I beg you, I implore you to tell them to stay out of our schools.
Well, tell the illegal aliens to stay out of the schools. This tragedy will be magnified 100-fold if this fight moves into the hallways of our public schools amongst our youth. And they're watching us. They're watching us now, how we respond. So I've got a few simple asks. Let us, the professionals, handle this on Minnesota soil, this investigation. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. He's a professional. He just lost billions of dollars to fraud. He's a professional.
This situation by removing yourselves from this situation with these 2,000 agents that were put here. And above all else, stay out of our schools. I'd like to ask you to care, but that might be a step too far for some people. But I know Minnesotans care. So we'll protest peacefully. We will win in courts. We will certainly win in the defense of our democracy because the American people see what's happening here. But the way that we don't win and the way that we lose, if this turns towards violence and allows them to escalate, it cannot happen. So I ask the grass-top leaders out there, the faith leaders, the folks who are on the streets, and in many times the true leaders are not the elected officials. They're the folks on the ground. I beg you, implore you, follow those words of the leaders we've had. I had the privilege of serving with John Lewis, and John talked about good trouble. I'm not telling you not to find good trouble, but I asked John many times, I said, John, I don't know if I'd have your self-restraint. Didn't you want to lash out? He said, yes, daily. But he said, I wanted to win this. I wanted to do what's right, and I wanted justice to prevail. And to do that, I knew the only way was to not lash out, to not give in to that. So to each and every one of you, We're not going to win this through violence.
That's great. Ron Cargo says, "Is he really asking for peaceful protests? Yeah. Does he know where? Does he know where he lives?
Justice. We're going to win it.
This
through
is
compassion.
like the
we're going to win it through Minnesota Nice.
The heart
and
of
we're
the
going to win
Summer
it
of
by
Love.
holding every one of these people accountable as they should for what we've seen on the streets of Minneapolis. With that, I'm going to turn to Commissioner Jacobson to give you a situation update.
We're not going to listen to the commissioner. We're going to go back to Tim Walz. I don't care what the commissioner has to say.
Back to Governor Walz and maybe a few questions.
Please. Esme?
I can't hear the questions.
I have not. As I said yesterday, I did speak to Secretary Noem and received a lot of talking points. I will note that I asked Secretary Noem how she would have felt if President Biden had sent 2,000 troops into Rapid City, South Dakota, and she said she would have welcomed them.
Yeah.
I leave that for the folks of South Dakota to determine.
Yeah, we all want law and order. Come on in, make our streets safer. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I've not spoken to the president. I would ask him, first of all, the goal here is to make America safe, is what he said. There is no verifiable evidence that any of this is making America safer. I would ask him to de-escalate in the moment, to allow Minnesotans to back up and grieve, to allow this investigation to be played out by the rule of law. I said it again. I have not passed any judgment on this. And to please, whatever it is, leave Minnesota alone. Earlier this week, I don't know if it was if something he wanted or I've already made it clear. I'm exiting the stage here in a year. But I told him I have a year to continue to do what I love dearly and what I believe I've been good at, making Minnesota a better place to live. The number of calls we got today of parents asking if they should send their kids to school or not. Minneapolis had to make what I believe was the absolute correct decision to cancel school. We have students out of learning today.
Why?
I would just ask him.
Because someone tried to run over an officer?
Security. I'm not talking anything about what he needs to do on that. None of this is accomplishing either his mission or making us any safer. So just give us a pause. Let us breathe. Look, we're exhausted. We're exhausted as Minnesotans. We're exhausted as Americans.
Smash their face in the windshield of truth.
This relentless assault on Minnesota, for whatever reason, is just cruel now. It has reached cruelness. So please, just give us a break. And if it's me, you're already getting what you want.
Welcome in, Pickle, Ballyhope.
But leave my people alone. Leave our state alone. And look again and see what's happening. It's not me saying it. You're hearing it from many, many others. So that's what I would say.
Governor Walz and Commissioner Jacobson, is there anything stopping state and local law enforcement from conducting an independent investigation into this, even if the federal government does not want?
I can't stand the sign language person behind me.
So, great question. We have asked for cooperation from the federal government. We were invited in to do a joint investigation on this initially. We continue to work
Elmer
with
Fudd
the federal
says
government
Pickle. I love that.
all the time on joint investigations. This is not something new, whether it be with the FBI or other federal law enforcement agencies. So we are accustomed to doing joint investigations. As the governor has mentioned, our force investigative unit within the BCA has a stellar reputation for doing quality investigations, for finding the answers to the questions that people have. There are someone should be charged
Bring back
with
Tim.
a crime.
Don't care. Bring back Tim.
Sorry, can I ask
I'm going to note on this too that no one less than Tom Homan yesterday said it would be unprofessional to pass judgment ahead of time. Now the disconnect between what Tom Homan said and Kristi Noem said needs to be rectified by the federal government. I will note too, this is a question I asked, not being an attorney of my team, and it will go to the family, that there will certainly be civil cases filed on this, and those will be filed in Minnesota court and be held in court. Corn?
Finno says start hanging people publicly so all these motherfuckers stop talking shit. I'm so down for public executions. I am, Finno. We'll stream them. We'll put it on Rumble Premium. I'd be happy to stream them.
A federal agent of any kind in Minnesota shot and killed somebody, a civilian. Are you
on this? I would say, if you truly wanted to de-escalate this situation, the logical conclusion would be to follow that procedure and allow Minnesota to participate. And that's where we started yesterday. And it's one of the reasons I came out here, and I'm not going to criticize that because that was the proper process. And I'm going to have to talk to Minnesotans to try, and it's a very difficult task. I think we all know what can happen here, to calmly wait until all the facts come out. I think you in this room are seeing the gravity of this situation by not allowing Minnesota to participate, and the prejudgment that's already been made
Corey,
by
welcome
leadership creates a very,
Wally,
very dangerous
welcome in.
situation.
Nice to see you.
And that's
Ely
why, once
Domer,
again,
Wally.
I'm going to reiterate to our federal partners, simply let us be part of this. Use our professional folks. They will gain you the credibility and the trust of Minnesotans to believe the work
Total
that
Horse
you're doing
Channel, Elite Domer,
is
welcome
honest, and it's not just a whitewash to backfill a predeceived notion. All right, so I got time for...
that the state can do to put in additional protection around schools or to allow for additional e-learning days for these situations?
Yeah, it's interesting, Dana, that you would ask that. We were
What are
just,
we
as
so
we were
concerned?
coming in here discussing someone...
What are we concerned about the kids going to school for? I don't get it. What are you talking about?
Asked about that, and they mentioned Ruby Bridges and the Little Rock folks about escorting people
Sneaky
in.
Pete, welcome in.
We have not determined that yet, but it is a situation that we're going to have to explore. As I said, again, the thing that cut me deeply was watching what happened in our schools and the chaos. And I was on with Commissioner Jett this morning as he's talking to folks from St. Cloud to Duluth about what they think about today. Should we be in classes today and tomorrow in those schools, or does it pose a potential risk? And so we're trying to figure that out. I think many of the things and the lessons we learned during COVID is local communities and local schools being able to make some of these decisions in the long run probably gets us better outcomes, but we are deeply concerned with that.
Elite Brad says he was almost your VP. Oh my God, could you imagine?
I'm going to come back as soon as we get
streaming.
any more information from all of you. We'll be in front of you again. I will reiterate, and many of you know my wife Gwen, the First Lady, is an English and literature teacher, and we were talking about some of this.
She turned in the page.
She got asked the question, and it was when will all of this end? And what Gwen...
What? When will all of what end? What are you talking about? When you follow the law, all of this will end.
Said it will end when enough people say it will end.
What is he talking about?
That is sage advice. And then I couldn't help but thinking, and it scares me a little bit. I heard those words. We remembered them, many of us in here in sophomore, and we read it, that the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most important
not quote
directive.
1984.
It certainly feels like that in this moment. And so I want Minnesotans to not believe that I'm telling you not to be angry, not to be scared, not to be feeling a little bit hopeless in this moment. But I would also say this, and I saw it last night, I saw it during George Floyd, I've seen it throughout our history. When things looked really bleak, it was Minnesota's first that held that line for the nation on that July 3rd, 1863. And I think now we may be in that moment that the nation's looking to us to hold the line on democracy, to hold the line on decency, to hold the line on accountability, and more than that, to rise up as neighbors and simply say, we can look out for one another. We can have differences. But we've proved to the world going on 250 years that our democracy could hold. It feels to me like we're at one of those inflection points.
It's called a fourth turning.
Asking our government to give us accountability.
What's up, Elite Domer? Don.
Listen to local leaders. Ratchet down the rhetoric. Let people feel safe in their person. And let's let our kids go to school without fear. Let's let our kids
just let them go to school,
knowing that tomorrow could
What's
be a little
going to
better
happen?
day.
Is some crazy leftist lesbian going to run over the kids going to school? What are you talking about, bro?
And so we're going to work on that. I'll leave you with this, and I'm not sure when we'll get in front of you next, but to Minnesotans.
And we love our
again,
lesbians,
just
Valley Hill
one last time,
lesbians.
Don't give them what they want. Don't give them the unrest that they want. Don't give in to allowing them to bring more folks in here. Don't allow them to expand this somewhere else. Rise up, wrap your arms around your neighbors, peacefully express your First Amendment and your constitutional rights, and let's start healing, get some answers, and move Minnesota forward.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
Good call, Governor. Thank God. So what about the fraud, sir? We have questions about the Somali fraud. Okay. He's not going to take our questions about the Somali fraud. That's too bad. Good evening, Ron Cargo says, I am a lesbian from the neck up. Just saying, says Ron Cargo. Ballyho Ron Cargo. How's the trampoline for the wife going, Ron? Rob says, everyone reach around somebody. Come here, Dome. Come here. We're gonna make it through this just fine. When we return, you guys talked me into doing both press conferences, and I'm kind of happy you did. When we return, today's press conference with the Vice President J.D. Vance and Caroline Leavitt from inside the White House. We'll be right back after this musical break.